Yeah, good morning. And I thought I'd use my once a day kind of outdoors bit to walk around. I'm only about 40 meters from my house, but just to get out into the outdoors, add a quite persistent bird song into the background, maybe a little bit of traffic noise. But this morning I read through 1st and 2nd Thessalonians, and some great highlights in these books. I'm just really sharing highlights. I'm not planning through these videos to explain every detail of the books or anything like that, but just highlights really to hopefully be an encouragement to you and maybe to motivate you to jump in as well and read through the New Testament, the Bible, whatever you like. But just be enjoying this opportunity to pursue God's heart. So 1 Thessalonians, fascinating epistle, because Paul had only been in Thessalonica briefly. Now we read in Acts 17 he was there for 3 Sabbaths, and then some things happened. He could have been there a little bit longer, but nobody thinks he was there a whole lot longer than a few weeks. And so it's interesting to read what he describes about them and what he describes about his ministry amongst them. And it's just an example of the gospel being transformative. And so in chapter 1 he talks about how they had responded to his message, how they had turned. In fact, he uses three verbs in chapter 1 verses 9 and 10. It talks about how they had turned to God from idols to serve the true and living God, and to wait for his Son from heaven, Jesus, whom he raised from the dead, who delivers us from the wrath to come. And those 3 verbs are interesting. They turned, they serve, and they wait. And that's really the story for all of us, isn't it? That God draws our hearts so that we turn to him from idols. Whatever it is that we have lived for previously, we turn to him and live for him. And I suppose right now a lot of people are experiencing a real shaking, that things that seemed so important have been taken away. And of course it's our prayer for others too, isn't it, that at this time that they would really be drawn away from the things that seemed so important a few weeks ago, and recognize actually there's got to be more to life than entertainment and sports, even politics and everything else that's going on. And so God is at work drawing people to himself, and we pray for that. And so they turn to God from idols to serve the true and living God. And so there's that active, present sense of serving him and living for him. And then finally, in verse 10, to wait for his Son from heaven. And this is going to be a striking thing all the way through the Thessalonian letters, just how much focus there is on the return of Christ, on our future hope. And I suppose that's good for us right now, isn't it? Just to be reminded that we too have been drawn away from other things. Right now we serve and we wait. We live in anticipation of the return of Christ from heaven. So let me encourage you, jump into 1 Thessalonians, 2 Thessalonians, or wherever you like, and pursue God's heart, see him at work. And yeah, let's share highlights. I'll share them here, but you share them in the comments, share them with other people. More importantly, let's be people that are sharing the heart of the God that we're discovering as we read his word together.